financial revolution over the past 20 years has changed the way, not just in how we pay for things, but our psychological relationship with money.
I fundamentally believe that in the next 3 to 5 years, we will be close to artificial general intelligence. This will be a transformative technology for us.
As president of PayPal, Dan Schulman was right at the front of this wave. He joins me now. Welcome.
Thank you, Anna. Pleasure to be with you.
How do you feel your time at PayPal has changed the way we think about money?
Well, I think in general, we're going to probably see more change in the next 5 years in the financial system than we've seen in the past 30, maybe to 50 years. Things are changing so fast technologically that, that you're seeing what were more analog forms of payments and banking services all go digital. And the reason for that is that transactions can be done instantaneously as opposed to taking hours or days. And they can be done at 1/100th the cost of traditional transactions. And it becomes more inclusive. More people can come into the economic system. So there are so many powerful reasons why the system is changing, and PayPal helped to lead the way there.
Do you feel it was a bit ahead of its time almost?
Well, we have 435 million people around the world using PayPal, so I don't think it was probably ahead of its time. I think it needs to continue to innovate. I think we need to work closely with governments and regulators around the world to assure that as many of the benefits of the financial tech revolution reach as many people as possible. So I think PayPal was early on. It's been a company for more than 20 years, but I think it's hit the market and it's hit the sweet spot of the market.
In terms of implementation of AI in the financial sector, what are the biggest changes you're expecting?
Well, I think what we've seen overall in not just the financial sector, but across many sectors, because people talk about fintech, but pretty much every big financial institution is becoming a fintech. Manufacturing companies are utilizing technology. And I think what you're seeing is that technology is allowing you to be well more productive than before. It enables us to do things faster. It enables us to do things more consistently. It enables us to do things at a fraction of the cost. And so all of those things need to be put into place for companies to be successful as they look ahead. The other powerful thing about AI is that it enables the data that a company can collect and utilize that data to personalize and customize their products almost at an individual level and in a much safer way than ever before. Like we can reduce fraud levels dramatically, reduce incidences of cybercrime. And so there are so many things that AI will unleash for companies across multiple industries.
And what about regulation in all of this?
I think when it comes to AI, it is a technology that is moving as rapidly as you can imagine. It is iterating and changing faster than any other technology we've seen in the past. And we've obviously seen a lot of technological changes as we look backwards. That this will be so much faster. And as a result of that, it's harder for regulators because it's changing so much. We're in its early innings right now, and we want to make sure that we don't stifle its creativity and its innovation, and yet we want to be sure that we have the right guardrails around the technology to make sure that it works for humanity, not against humanity. And to make it even more difficult, it needs to be harmonized around the globe. It does no good if one country has a set of AI regulations and another has something different, especially if the technology is more global in its deployment than in an individual country.
So what do you see as the main threats, given that it's difficult to regulate, as you say, globally?
Well, obviously, there's cyber issues that we need to think about. There's privacy, there's misinformation. But I do think that we can address those issues. We can watermark, anything that comes out of an AI model to make sure people know it's not you or somebody like you putting that information out. It's actually a machine that's doing that. I think we'll utilize AI to protect ourselves against cyber intrusions that will get more and more sophisticated as technology evolves. But I think the thing to really think about is, what will AI do to workforces going forward? Could it lead to unemployment levels that we haven't seen before? And what do we do as a result of that as we think about it from the role of business leaders, from regulators, and from governments? Because we need to make sure that our economies are robust, that they are inclusive, and that we don't create have and have-nots as a result of the deployment of AI and other technologies.
You're in venture capital now. What areas are you most excited about when it comes to investments?
There are two areas that are kind of overlapping but relate to each other. The first is the entire digitization of the financial infrastructure. A lot of people conflate when they think about crypto as these meme coins and risky investments with the underlying infrastructure that can power this, these distributed ledger technologies, blockchain technologies, different forms of blockchain ranging from the Bitcoin blockchain to Ethereum to Solana. They all have different use cases associated with them. But those technologies, as I mentioned before, can radically reduce costs and make transactions instantaneous and drive a tremendous amount of people who are outside the financial system and enable them to be a part of it. And so we look at investing at companies that are helping to enable that movement from what were traditional, more analog systems into more digital systems that provide tremendous benefits for governments, for regulators, and for citizens around the world.
How do you personally differentiate whether something is a hype, a trend, or something that will have a lasting impact on the society?
Well, a lot of things go through cycles. They go through, the valley of despair, and then they can go into this big hype cycle, and then they kind of normalize going forward. So you have to just look at kind of where are you in that life cycle of that trend that's going on. I fundamentally believe that in the next, call it 3 to 5 years, we will be close to AGI, artificial general intelligence. And I think that will fundamentally reshape economies and companies and the way governments think about providing services. And so I think the excitement around it is warranted. And people are building that into valuations right now. And that just needs to play out over a number of years. But this will be a transformative technology for us.
Is there a danger that it will lead to more inequality?
I don't see that as kind of the first use case that I imagine. I think AI can actually smooth some of the inequality. Like, I think people can get medical attention where they might not have been able to have that before. I think AI and blockchain will dramatically reduce the costs of transactions, which I think will be helpful for hundreds of millions of people, if not billions, around the world. And at the same time, there's the other side of the coin, where there may be people that are replaced as a result of AI. And how we address that issue will be super important from my perspective. And there, I do think governments and regulators and businesses around the world need to work hand in hand to think through what might that scenario look like and how do we address it? Because we want as many of our citizens as possible as business leaders to be productive, to be a part of the economy. They drive consumption, they drive demand. And so having a healthy consumer in all ways is critical for businesses to be successful. And for businesses, if they're successful, economies are, and if economies are successful, usually governments are as well.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's my pleasure, Anna. Thank you for having me.